All right, let's talk about the World Cup, but maybe not the one you're used to. We're going way back to the very beginning to dive into the wild, almost disastrous origin story of the biggest sporting event on the planet.
I mean, can you even imagine that? That was the reality facing the very first FIFA World Cup. It was a tournament born from this grand, beautiful vision, but it was plagued by chaos right from the start.
Okay, so where does this all start? Well, our story really begins with one man, the FIFA president at the time, Jules Rimet. This guy had a massive dream, to unite the entire world through football.
So, to get the ball rolling, he commissioned this absolutely beautiful trophy. It was originally called Victory, and the idea was pretty simple. If he built the tournament, the teams would have to come, right? Well, he was kind of right, only partly.
Now, right off the bat, the first big surprise was the choice of host. You might think, okay, it's got to be England, right? The inventors of the game. But nope, it was a small South American nation.
So why Uruguay? Well, their bid was just, you couldn't ignore it. First off, they were the undisputed best team in the world at the time, having won back-to-back Olympic gold medals. But here's the kicker. They offered to pay for every single team's travel and lodging. I mean, what an incredible gesture. And to top it all off, the tournament would happen during their 100th anniversary celebration. It was basically a perfect storm.
Okay, so choosing a host. That turned out to be the easy part. Actually convincing people to travel all the way across the ocean for a brand new, completely unproven tournament, yeah, that was an absolute nightmare.
Rimet's vision was so pure, so simple. It was just an open invitation to all 41 FIFA-affiliated nations. No qualifying rounds, no complicated brackets. To show up, play, and fight for the ultimate prize.
So the deadline rolls around, February 28th, 1930. And you know how many European teams had confirmed? 0, not a single one. The trip to Uruguay was this long, really expensive sea voyage, and frankly, a lot of the top European football associations were super skeptical about this whole World Cup idea.
And this attitude was perfectly captured by, you guessed it, England's Football Association. Even after getting a personal invitation from Rimet himself, their vibe was basically, thanks, but no thanks. Our tournaments are way too prestigious for us to bother with your little party.
So what happened? Well, after some last-minute, desperate personal begging from Jules Rimet himself, the final count was just 13 teams, and only 4 of those were from Europe. The travel was so hard that one team, Egypt, literally missed the boat that was supposed to take them there. Can you believe it? They missed the boat to the World Cup. All right, so for the teams that did manage to make it, they were treated to a tournament that was it was filled with these bizarre firsts and unforgettable blunders. I'm talking about the kind of chaos you would just never, ever see today.
Okay, get this. The coaches for Bolivia and Romania, they weren't just on the sidelines coaching their own teams. Nope, they were also picking up the whistle and officiating other games as official referees. I mean, can you even imagine the potential conflicts of interest today? It's wild.
And hey, what about the first hat-trick in World Cup history? You'd think it was scored by some legendary South American or European star, right? Wrong. It was an American player, a guy named Bert Patnud, who scored all 3 goals against Paraguay. And then there was this moment. In the match between Argentina and France, the referee just blew the final whistle. The problem? There were 6 full minutes left to play. Imagine the absolute chaos on the field, trying to convince players to come back and finish the game. Just incredible.
So, after all that early round craziness, the semifinals turned out to be just brutal blowouts. The 2 South American powerhouses, Argentina and the host nation Uruguay, both completely crushed their opponents with identical 6-1 victories. And that set the stage for a massive final.
So this all led to an epic final between 2 fierce rivals who not only shared a border but a deep, deep passion for football. The hosts, Uruguay, against their neighbors, Argentina.
And the drama started before a single ball was even kicked. See, both teams insisted on using their own ball. They couldn't agree. So FIFA actually had to step in and make a compromise. Argentina's ball would be used for the first half, and Uruguay's would be used for the second. A tale of 2 halves and 2 balls.
So, you had a massive crowd of 93,000 people packed into the brand new Centennial Stadium. And get this, the stadium had only just been finished a few days before the tournament even began. Talk about cutting it close.
All right, so the game starts. Uruguay scores first. The crowd goes wild. But then Argentina storms back and they're leading 2-1 at halftime. Things are looking grim for the hosts. But then the second half starts with their ball. And they mount this incredible comeback, scoring 3 unanswered goals to win it all, 4-2. They became the first ever World Cup champions on home soil.
And check this out. Their manager, Alberto Supici, set a record that day that still stands almost a century later. He was just 31 years old, making him the youngest coach to ever win a World Cup, a record that's never been broken.
So there you have it. From a party that almost nobody came to a legendary final, the World Cup was born. It wasn't born from perfect planning or some slick corporate event. It was born from pure chaos and passion. It just goes to show you that sometimes the greatest things have the messiest beginnings, and it leaves you wondering, what does the next 100 years hold for the beautiful game? Thanks for watching.